Hello, YouTube. I am just about to set up my Instagram live, so give me just a second and then we will get this party started. Hello, Instagram. Welcome to my live workout. My name is Madeleine Conti. I'm going to be taking you guys through clean variations. We're also going to go over a couple other skills and then put it all together for a complex at the end of the workout. So the first half of this is going to be very much educational. If you're just logging on, tell me where you're from, say hello. Let me know if you've ever done any of my workouts before. I would love to know if I've got some of my Kettle Club crew in here. And again, my name is Madeleine Conti. I am based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I run a class in a program called Kettle Club. It's super fun. It is one where we build flows, but we go through it step by step, learning the singular skills, then building complexes, and then finally putting everything together for a long form flow. Today, we're not going to do a super long flow, but it is going to be more of a flow than a complex in that it's going to be one rep of each skill, and it's going to be 4 skills pieced together to do for time or for reps or for rounds, however you want to do it. We're going to be doing it for rounds today. We're going to be starting on the floor for some mobility, and then we will get started with those singular skills, breaking them down, and then putting them together for our complex. So let's start in tabletop position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips. I want you guys to do cat-cow a few times. I want you to tuck your pelvis as far as you can, press away from the floor, feeling your abs tucking you in, and then arch your back, squeeze your shoulder blades down, open your chest, and gaze up for cow. Let's go 2 more times. If I'm sniffing, it's because it's really cold out here and my garage door is open, so I'm dying. All right, let's come up onto your knuckles, turn your palms in neutral, right foot around to the outside of your hand, and I want you to squeeze your knee into your shoulder. So we're creating tension in your inner thigh. We're still going to go through cat-cow. Now this is going to really expose any tightness in the hamstring or adductor. Let's switch sides, a few on the other side. Again, squeezing the knee into the shoulder to create tension. And expose if you've got any tightness going on in there, which most of us will. All right, next up, we are going to stand up. Arms are going to be straight out in front of us. Motorcycle going by. And I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades down as hard as possible. From there, we're going to reach far forward. We're then going to shrug up, squeeze back, and down. Forward, up, back, down, forward, up, back, down. Now we're going to reverse it. So staying down and back and then shrugging up, reaching forward, squeezing down and back, up, forward, down, back. One more time through. Forward, down, back, and bring your arms like this. So we're opening our chest, okay? From there, I'm going to have you guys rotate over your right hip, but while you're rotating back, you're going to drive your right hip forward. This is the big thing I want us to focus on because we've got some rotation in our skills today, so I want to open up our QLs and obliques that might be tight. I then want you to extend your arm back as far as possible, squeezing your shoulder blade down, and again, still driving that right hip forward. Just keep holding here. Come back to the front, reset. We're thinking left hip forward now. As we twist back over the left hip, extend our arm. I'm squeezing down through the shoulder blade, so I'm getting my lat engaged. I'm driving my left hip forward, which is going to help open up the oblique and QL. Let's do one more on each side. Very slow, intentional movement. Hard contractions in every muscle that is involved. back to the front. Last one, reset here. Rotate back, driving my left hip forward. Extend, so tricep is squeezing, lat is squeezing because I'm depressing the shoulder blade. And done. Okay, now let's go to the floor. We're gonna do some Superman snow angels. So laying on your stomach, arms are gonna be out in the front, palms up. I want you to flex your ankles so toes are in the floor. You're also gonna tuck your chin, but not quite yet. I know that you have to look up at the phone to see me, but I want you to fly your hands up off the ground, fly your arms around to your hips, going into internal rotation in your shoulder, and then flying back around to the front into external rotation. Once you have that, tuck your chin so that you're not craning your neck. We'll go 2 more and we'll get into the workout. Awesome. One quick little floor scorpion. You're gonna bend your leg, lift it up, open the hip, and twist until your foot's on the floor. Bend, lift, open, twist. And then lay on your back for a quick supine twist. One knee in your chest, same side arm out. Pull across with your other arm until your knee touches the floor. Biggest thing though is make sure your shoulder blades are on the floor. And back to the center, other side. All right, I am going to pin my username here so that in case y'all want to see more of what we're about to do, you can hop over to my page whenever you want. Can I pin it? Pin. Maybe I can't. Help me. Okay, I can't pin it, but I commented it, whatever. Y'all can see it in the top there. Not a huge deal. All right, so we're gonna be going over the dead position, the hang position, and also a rotational clean, as well as a bent press. That's kind of like our to-do list for the day. We're gonna start with the dead position. The bell is gonna be in between our feet, dead on the floor. Now, a big thing that I see with the dead clean is slack that ends up happening in the arms, so they end up yanking the bell off the ground. I have a trick for fixing that, but let's first go over the dead clean and the components of it, and then I'll address how to kind of clean it up. So dead position, feet on either side of the bell. We're first going to do a gunslinger. So the gunslinger teaches us the row and the hip extension. I'm going to row the bell back by my side in tandem with my knees and hips extending, then back to the floor. Chest is open, I'm looking forward, arm can be here to help open up the chest, and then row the bell back as you stand up. I want this to be driven by the legs, and the arm is simply guiding the bell where it's supposed to go. Let's do 5 reps on each side. Once you get 5, switch. Explosive through the legs. I'm fine with you leaving the ground and literally jumping off the ground. And that is our dead gunslinger. So next, we're gonna guide the bell around the forearm to get it to the front rack position. And this is gonna teach you the path that the bell will be going through for the actual clean. So it's going to be the gunslinger. And then I'm gonna guide the butt of the bell out and around my wrist as I punch up to the front rack. I will then pull the bell straight back down to the floor and repeat. Gunslinger, guide the butt of the bell straight out as I punch my knuckles up to a front rack position, kind of guarding my face like this. Do 2 or 3 reps on one side and then switch. Gunslinger, guide the butt of the bell out, punch up to the floor. Gunslinger, guide around, punch up, and down. All right, we're ready for the clean. So now what we're gonna do is take away the assisted part of it, and we're gonna let the momentum of that rowing kind of help the bell float up so that we can then punch underneath it. So I am still thinking of rowing back, but when it's floating for a split second at the apex of that pull, I'm going to punch underneath the bell to catch right here. It's all about speed and timing. So I'm seated, chest is open, and I row back, punch underneath. Come back to the floor. Extend the legs explosively and row back, punch underneath. I'm gonna try to make it really obvious on this next one, that floating position, but it's gonna be right here, so look closely. Did you see it? Hopefully. I can't make it any slower than that, especially with it being a heavier bell. But do like 3 to 5 reps on one side. When you feel comfortable, switch to the other, and then we'll move on. Whatever you do, think of rowing back. The bell will go around your wrist instead of over if you follow that path. If you think of the row before actually catching it. It's when we think of the final piece that we rush everything in between, and the butt of the bell can end up going upside down and flopping over the wrist. All right, so that's our dead clean. Next on the list is to address the hang position. Now, I use the hang position to clean up the dead clean because the hang is exactly as it sounds. It is floating off the ground. What's great about that is you can't really have the opportunity of creating slack in your arm because it's already loaded. So it's just a great reminder of the arm is a strap connecting you to the bell, and it is simply guiding the bell. It is not doing the work. The actual work is being done by the legs. The power is coming from the legs. The arm is connecting you to the bell. And when we run out of juice from our legs, so when they're fully extended, we go up the chain to our arm. So it starts in the ankles, knees, and hips. When those extend and they're done with their work, now we go to the next joint, okay? So we start at the bottom and go up. I want you guys to squeeze the shoulder blade down, lift the bell a few inches off the floor. We're gonna do the same thing, but now from this hang position. So we're gonna do the gunslinger. Might feel a little bit heavier. We have a shorter distance, so we have to move a lot more load with a shorter amount of space and time. But also, we can't really pull early, can we? That yank of the bell, it's what hurts the bicep. So do a few reps on each side and see how different it feels. It's gonna be an amazing way to clean up those dead positions because it's really gonna remind you again to not pull early for the clean and gunslinger and anything else starting from the floor, ending either overhead or in the front rack. So I'm gonna do a few on my right side. Hang, gunslinger. All right, we're also gonna do that assisted clean. So the hang, gunslinger, guide around to the front rack and down. Hopefully that feels good to y'all and makes sense, and you can see why it would be a building block for the dead position. So in class or in my program, I would actually teach the hang first because it'll give you kind of good habits going into then pulling from the floor. So adding the variable of a resting position is actually kind of more difficult than starting from the hang. Does anyone who's watching have any burning questions as we're going through this? Because we're almost done with the skill building component. Not seeing anything, just wanted to check. All right, so we have one last thing, hang, clean, and then we're gonna go into catching in a squat when we get done with that. So hang clean coming up next. So taking away the assisting hand, let's do 3 reps on each side, be as fast and powerful as possible, commit to the row, feel for that float, and then punch underneath it, and it should be beautiful. 3 reps, starting from the hang. Definitely leave the floor on this one with your feet to get as much power out of it as possible. We want extension as much as possible. Think of jumping out the gym. A few reps here. Commit to that row. And take a break. All right. Next up is going to be catching knees in a squat. So if we think about the kettlebell and the barbell, there are a lot of very similar movements. And I think of Olympic weightlifting with a lot of these movements. And the big thing with Olympic weightlifting is we're trying to move as much weight as possible in a short distance, or as short of a distance as possible, and make it feel as light as possible. That is true for the kettlebell as well. So for our cleans, if you're using a really heavy bell, you would think you probably don't want to stand up all the way with it to get it to the front rack. The idea would be get it to the front rack as fast as possible and then use your legs to stand up with it. So that is kind of where the squat clean comes into play. So we're going to be getting the bell, moving off of the floor, and then immediately getting ourselves underneath it. Now, I don't want it to be cut short. We still want to use the hips. You don't have to get a full stand to then get underneath it. It wouldn't really make sense to catch in a squat if you're already up here. So the idea is you start extending the joints, and then you pull yourself underneath. And you pull yourself underneath after you've done this row, and you're starting to punch underneath the bell. So I'm going to show you guys what that looks like, and then we'll practice it. So we're going to do these from the dead position, and then we'll go from the hang, and you can see the difference there. So from the dead, I'm going to very quickly get the bell moving off the floor by way of my legs extending, and then catch underneath the bell. Back to the floor. That is my dead squat clean. Go ahead and do 3 on one side. Practice that a little bit. Switch to the other side. Proud chest. Create tension through your arms so you're not yanking the bell. Get all the joints extending, and then once you feel the weight of the bell moving off the floor and you're starting to row back, that's then when you get underneath it. Let me do one more. All right, that's our squat clean. Finally, for these cleans, we have a hang squat clean. So it is, again, a great tool to clean up the dead position if you do feel like you're yanking on the bell. Ways that you can tell if you're yanking on the bell is the next day, you might have some elbow pain. Your forearm might be hurting. Your grip might be exhausted. All these things are exposing that we're not using the big muscles to move the weight. We're using these tiny ones. And we don't want to do that. We want to lock all of these joints into place so that we're packed in our lat. And we can let our legs do the work. So this is one solid unit, essentially. So I'm going to show you guys hang, squat, clean. You already probably know the drill, but starting from this hang, I'm going to start it moving. Once my legs are extended or close to extended and I'm rowed, I'm going to punch underneath and catch in the squat. Hang position, extend, row back, catch in the squat, and punch underneath. That is my hang squat clean. Do 2 or 3 on the other side, and we'll get into that rotation I was talking about. Hang, squat clean. Hang, row back, catch, and stand. Fabulous. I got some dogs barking in the background. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay, this next one is wonderful. It is great for joint health. I use this one a lot to like warm up before any lift, honestly. And the reason that I really, really like it is because I think we do maybe a little bit too much emphasis on the hips and not enough on the knees and ankles, especially the ankles. I'm big on foot health, and I'm big on tendon health in general. And the Achilles is just underutilized and undertrained, I think. So I like to really lean into using my Achilles and taking them to their end ranges so that they're durable. So this one's going to kind of address that, and also we'll be getting into rotation. I want you guys to clean the bell up to the front rack position. We can use our dead clean that we just learned. And I want your feet about shoulder width apart, pretty much facing forward. It can be slightly turned out. From there, I want you to think of having your hips neutral and sliding down a wall, driving your knees forward. So we're in a dip position with this being straight. If I had no butt, it would be straight, okay? So my knees are forward, honestly past my toes. Ankles are very flexed. I'm going to rotate and extend this leg, and my knee is going forward. I'm then going to rotate the other way. This knee is going forward as this one extends. And I'm obviously using obliques to help rotate me to face the left side of the room. Right knee is facing straight forward, back to the center. This knee goes forward more, right leg extends. I'm now facing the right side of the room. How does that feel? It's a wild one. And just a heads up, I am going to have like a full-blown tutorial on this move in particular. I don't want to take up too much time on this live workout for that, but I do want to give you guys the why behind it even more extensively. But the biggest thing is we want to take your knees and ankles to their end ranges. We want to get into loaded rotation and really intentional extending and bending of the knees so that we can kind of give direction and make sense of the rotation that we're doing. So where does this come into play? This rotation is going to give us power going into an inside clean to outside clean. We're not just throwing the bell, right? I want to do it with intention. I want to do it in the most powerful way possible. And we can only be powerful if we understand every joint involved. So these joints that are involved, I'm in my dip. I'm going to rotate this direction. So my right leg is totally locked out. Left knee is bent, facing straight forward. I'm going to punch the bell this direction, and I'm actually going to sit away from it to give it even more space between me and the bell so that it can do kind of a pendulum swing across and I can catch here. I'll show you guys what that looks like. Punch, swing, and clean into my side. Rotate, punch, clean into my side. I'm going to show you guys, sorry, I'm going to sneak away for a second. I'm going to grab a little bit lighter bell so that I can do it in almost slow motion. I'm going to show you guys facing straight forward. So I'm here, dip, rotate. So my knee is forward, this one's locked out, I'm facing the right side of the room. When I punch, my hand is going to go straight down, and I'm going to get a full lockout. It's then going to swing across, and I'm extending this knee and bending this one, and then it's going to clean. I'm obviously using this hand to help out. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to try to do it slow-mo again. So I'm going to punch that way and sit away from the bell. I'm going to stand tall by extending this knee. And as I rotate this way, this knee is going to bend. I'm going into the row, and I'm punching to get underneath it. Here is normal speed. The timing of that knee extension and the other one bending is huge. It's going to be the thing that helps whip you into place, is this knee bend and this extension. So practice that a few times. I know that's a very, very involved skill. There's so many different components to it. And honestly, it will get better and better over time. Mine is constantly evolving. So there is no like final end result that you're gonna be like, yes, that's the way that I want to do it every time. That's when we introduce other variables. We get heavier bells. We get more explosive and dynamic with how far away that we're getting from the bell. There's always a way to level it up. So just keep that in mind with all of these skills as you're learning them. They will always be changing. It will never be perfect. So final thing I want to go over is the bench press, and then we're going to do the full workout, which is just going to be like an 8-minute burn. So bear with me for another 10 minutes, okay? This final skill is the bench press. I did a whole live workout on the bench press about a month ago. So if you guys want an in-depth tutorial, guess what? That is also on my page. I think I have it pinned. If not, I'll pin it after today. But with the bench press, just like all these other lifts, we want to make the bell feel as light as possible. We're gonna do that if we keep our limbs and our torso touching each other for the majority of the time. So I'm gonna show you guys quickly the mechanics of the bench press. I've got my feet shoulder width as I was before. I'm gonna rotate back so that my tricep and lat are touching and my wrist is loaded over my elbow. I am slightly forward because otherwise, the weight of this bell would take me over, okay? So I'm kind of compensating for that. Palm is facing you guys. That's a really important part of this. So my palm is gonna stay facing the front of the room. I'm going to bend this front knee and push my hand away from me so that my wrist and my elbows stay stacked over each other. This leg is staying locked out, so I've got my arm and my leg all perpendicular to the floor, okay? This knee is giving me depth. I'm gonna continue bending underneath and then finally fully extend this arm. And then stand up. And that is my bench press. I'm gonna do it one more time in like normal speed. Pressing my hand away from me, bending underneath, full extension of the arm. I'm pretty much upside down. And I come up. And that's the bench press. If y'all wanna do one or two each side, that would be wonderful. I'm gonna do one on my left just to kind of balance it out. And then I'll tell you guys about the complex, okay? So I'll do a dead clean. I'm gonna rotate back. I've got my tricep and lat touching. I'll show you guys this way. And I'm going to think of bending this leg and this one staying locked out. And another, again, huge thing is pushing that hand away. If the kettlebell stays resting on your arm as you bend over, you're out of luck. It's gonna feel so heavy. So you wanna give it direction and movement immediately. Otherwise, you will not be able to press it off of you. So we're bending underneath, full lockout, stand up. And that's our bench press. Okay, let's go over what the complex is today. So we learned dead position, hang position for both the clean and the squat clean. We also learned a rotational clean, which was the inside clean to outside clean. Well, guess what? The inside clean to outside clean sets us up perfectly for the bench press. So what we're gonna do is a dead clean, and then a hang squat clean, and then we're gonna do the inside clean to outside clean, and finally a bench press. So we're gonna do those 4 skills in a row, on the right, on the left, we will rest, then we'll do it 2 times on each side, then finally 3 times, and we'll call it a day. I'm gonna show you guys some animal flow that we're gonna do in between, just gonna keep us moving and give us a rest from the bell, but not a rest from the workout, all right? Now, depending on the weight that you're using, you might also wanna program true rest in there. I'm not gonna do that today just because I'm gonna be using kind of a lighter bell for me. I'm on a 12 kilo, and I would say 16 kilo and up is where I would start programming, 30 seconds rest after the animal flow. Just depends on what your intention is. I want this to be a quick burnout, okay? So we're gonna make this, it's probably gonna end up being about 6 to 8 minutes by the end of all of this. So let's go ahead and get ready. The animal flow is going to be body weight movement on the floor. It's gonna be simple, don't worry, we'll go over it when we get to it. We're starting with that dead clean, going into the hang squat clean. We're gonna do the inside to outside clean, bench press, bring the bell to the floor, repeat on the other side. Let's go ahead and get it going. In 3, 2, 1, dead clean, hang, squat clean, rotate to one side of the room. We've got our inside clean to outside clean, and then set up for your bench press. Nice and slow. Stand up, pull the bell down, and we'll repeat on the other side. Dead clean, hang, squat clean, just to the opposite side of the room, inside clean to outside clean, rotate back even more, bench press, stand up, pull down to the floor. Now we're gonna have loaded beast cross reach. So loaded beast is starting from the high plank. We're gonna push back for child's pose with your knees floating off the ground, and then reach, we're gonna go across to our opposite knee, or knee to opposite elbow. Loaded beast, cross, reach. We're gonna do 5 per side, and then we'll go right back in to the kettlebell. Try to make contact between your knee and elbow. And that's our animal flow. All right, we're going right back in. So we're gonna have 2 reps now on everything, but we are still going to do like the full complex in a row, 1 rep of each, and then we'll just do it a second time. And then we'll switch sides, okay? Dead clean, hang squat clean, inside clean to outside clean, bent press, stay on that side, and do it again, all right? I'm doing my left side first, just feel like it. You guys can decide which side you do first. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. Dead clean, hang, squat clean, twist, inside clean to outside clean, rotate back, bent press, stand up, pull down, again, dead clean, hang, squat clean, inside to outside, rotate back, bent press, pull down, other side, dead clean, hang, squat clean, rotate, inside to outside clean, rotate back more, bent press, pull down, one more time, dead clean, hang, squat clean, inside to outside, rotate back, bent press, pull down, and we've got animal flow, loaded beast, cross reach, 5 per side again. And that is our animal flow. We've got a 3rd round. How are we doing? How are we doing? I just want to make sure I'm not missing any pressing questions. La, la, la. All right, we look good. Let's do it again, one more time. But now it's 3 rounds. So 3 on one side, and then we'll switch. Or you can go back and forth. You can do 2 on one side, and then the final one, however you want to chop and screw this is fine with me. I'm gonna go 3 on one side, so it's fewer switches. Here we go. Dead, hang squat, inside to outside, bent press. Final round, let's get it. 3, 2, 1, dead. Hang, squat, inside to outside. Rotate back, maintain contact between the tricep and lat as you go into the bent press. Pull down, again, dead. Hang, squat, inside to outside. Get away from that bell whenever you're going into the rotation. I'm gonna really make it obvious on this last one. All right, dead. Hang, squat. When I punch the bell away, I'm sitting away from it. And again, as I'm rotating into the outside clean. Bent press. All right, that side's done. We've got our other side. Dead. Hang, squat. Inside to outside. Bent press. Round 2, dead. Hang, squat. Rotate, inside to outside, bent press. Final one, dead. Hang, squat. Inside to outside, and bent press. All right, animal flow, final time. Loaded beast, Cross reach. 5 per side. All right, y'all, that was it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is go through a little cool down and we'll call it a day. So let's move the bells out of the way and let's go back to the floor. Tabletop position. Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. Go into cat. Go into cow. Back to cat. Back to cow. One more time, cat. Cow. Walk your hands forward. Sit your hips back. Tuck your pelvis. Roll forward for cat. Continue rolling forward till your hips come to the ground. Open the chest, squeeze your shoulder blades down, and gaze up. Now tuck the chin. Roll back to cat. So concave in our core, tuck in the pelvis, and continue back to child's pose. Let's go one more time. Roll forward to cat. Continue rolling forward, hips go down, chest open, squeeze shoulders down, gaze up, and then tuck the chin. Roll back to cat, and child's pose. Awesome. All right, lay on your stomach, floor scorpion, arms out, palms down. We started with this one. Bend the knee, lift it up by squeezing your glute, open your hip, and rotate. Come back to the center. Other side, bend, lift, open. Now lay on your back, right knee in your chest, right arm out to the side, pull across, supine twist. Now bend the bottom leg at the knee, grab around the foot or ankle, squeeze your shoulder into the floor, pretzel stretch. Come back to the center, left knee in your chest, left arm out to the side, right hand pulls across, supine twist. Bend the bottom leg at the knee, grab around the foot, squeeze your shoulders into the floor, pretzel stretch. Fabulous. Okay, I saw a few comments. I want to make sure I'm not missing big questions. So let me actually go through YouTube first. We got some people from New York in here. Love it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the explanations. I am a nerd about that. I like to understand why things are. And I know that there are a lot of other people out there as well who are the same. And I feel like there's just a lot of classes out there that kind of skirt over the form, just expect you to be able to do a clean and understand the mechanics of it. And I just remember the day that I didn't remember it. So I like to really break it down every time, no matter if we're all experts out there or not, we can all use a refresher on the why behind movement. And that is honestly the bread and butter of all of my programming and all of my classes, is making it educational and then making it fun too. All right, I enjoyed this. Thank you so much for having me. I am back on Kettlebell Kings once a month. So I'm sure there will be one right around mid-December, if I had to guess. I can't remember the exact date. Could be closer to the end of December. Either way, I hope you guys join me for that. This will be posted on their page, also shared on mine. And I will be posting a really in-depth breakdown, especially of that rotational clean. All right? I will check up with you guys later. See ya. Have a great day. Oh, can you explain the clean variation again? I will in my post. And go check this out on Kettlebell Kings page so that you can replay it again. All right, bye, y'all. Thanks for having me. YouTube, you were wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. I will see you guys next time.